What we're going to be doing today is walking through the streets where Kenneth Williams grew up and spent his formative years. And it's all over that way, one of the least known parts of London, and I think one of the most delightful and tranquil parts of London. So I should say that Kenneth will, I hope, be joining us in spirit occasionally from time to time. He'll drop in. Yes. This here, Methodist Church, is where Kenneth Williams used to do his early worshipping, where he used to fall to his knees and pray fiercely to God for redemption, I suppose. That pub there, now called McGlynn's, is the old Duke of Wellingtons, which is the pub where Kenneth Williams' grandmother used to get drunk all the time. And when she died, the coach and horses with her coffin stopped right where you're standing now and made a special stop. Come this way and I can show you something extraordinary. I wonder if any movie buffs can tell me which film this is from. Of course, if anyone's not sure, there he is. And if you turn around and look up that street, that is the view from Mrs. Wilberforce's front door from this very film. There it is. You can compare it. Look, that street is the one that Peter Sellers and Alec Guinness and all the others disappeared up and tried to get away with all their money, just right there where that tree is. Now you can see, can you tell the difference between those two streets, how they've changed? It's definitely the same one, isn't it? So there we go. There was a little fruit and veg shop just there. So Kenneth got a lot of his ability, his gift for telling stories from his mother, who used to report all the things that the friends and neighbours had said. And he said she came out that shop and she came home and she said, "Oh, that Lily Skinner, you know her, the one with a face like a currant, well, face like a bun with a couple of currants stuck in for eyes, her." Well, she was in there and she said, "Oh, I'm not paying penny halfpenny for your artichokes, Jerusalem or no Jerusalem. You know what you can do with them, you can stick them, dear." And the shopkeeper said, "Yes, well, I'd like to oblige you, madam, but I've already got a tuppenny cucumber up there." So come this way. That was in that very shop. If you see that roof up there with the railings on it, that was where Kenneth Williams effectively made his first ever professional appearance. In a school play directed by the English teacher called The Rose and the Ring, he played Princess Angelica. They rehearsed it up there, and a local reviewer from the local paper wrote of Kenneth Williams' first ever review. Kenneth Williams, with his mincing step and comical demeanour as Princess Angelica, was a firm favourite with the audience, to whom his snobbishness and pert vivacity made great appeal. Now, when you consider that was in the late 30s by just some local hack reporting on this school play, snobbishness and pert vivacity pretty well sums up Kenneth Williams' stage persona, doesn't it? Chroma House. This, flat number 14, on the third floor, was where Kenneth grew up. So it was up there on the third floor where Kenneth used to call up to his mother and say, "Hey, Mum, what was he wanted? Was there a pennyworth of vinegar and 2 pennyworth of ham and 2 pounds potatoes?" And she would say, "I don't want all the neighbours. Look, go into my business. Come up here, I'll tell you. Come on." But in those days, a family would live in one room. People were extremely poor. There was, when Kenneth was growing up, there was no health service, and one of his neighbours used to deliver babies, 3 shillings a time. So here it is, 57 Marchmont Street, where Kenneth made his great social move up when the family moved into this, what was then a hairdressing shop as it is now. And they lived on the floors above here. Kenneth, I think, lived on the top floor. He had his own little room that was private, where he could escape from his father's attempts to, butch him up. Kenneth spent many years living there with his parents, even while he was making his first theatrical triumphs. When he was doing St. Joan in the West End, he would come back here every night. And eventually he got his own flat and always lived in this vicinity. He never strayed very far at all from this neighbourhood. It all began here in Camden, and particularly this area, Argyle Square and around these environs, which is where he grew up and where much of his comedy and his humour, I think, came from. He learnt a lot of that, the old Cockney songs and jokes, from this pub, the Boot Pub, which Mr. Hughes is the landlord of now. And it's really the wellspring of everything that we know from Kenneth Williams.
I think seeing where Kenneth Williams used to live, the barber shop, and seeing the blue plaque there, was something I'd looked for in London but not been able to find until today. So it's interesting to see that. It's also very interesting to see David Benson acting out Kenneth Williams. That brought it to life, really.
I probably knew quite a lot from David's plays about the sort of character he was, but I had no idea where he lived, and I assumed he'd lived here later on in life. I didn't know that he was brought up around this area.
I mean, this part of London I barely know at all. I can't believe it's so close to King's Cross, and there's so much around here. It's really cool, and it was really good fun. And David playing Kenneth Williams is brilliant. So yeah, it's a great, really enjoy it.